Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're very excited tonight. It's a special night. For those of you who are fans of the show, you know it's a special night. But tonight we are going to be talking with our good friend, Coach. How's it going, buddy?
Doing great. I'm excited. Thanks for finally having it on. It is a very special episode. Ready to get into it, man. Excited. Thanks for everybody being here in the chat, and let's go.
Is it really game time? Is this really happening?
It's game time. It's happening. It's happening. You know, it's like Christmas morning. There's a lot of build-up and anticipation, and then you hope it lives up to the hype. So let's hope we do that.
Wow. Hope it lives up to the hype. Dang. All right. Whatever, dude.
I'll put myself on blast right now, you know?
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. Everything about tonight is going to be on Coach's shoulders, so if this goes horribly wrong, it's on him. Speaking of horribly wrong...
The cinematic masterpiece we're going to review will save us.
Yeah.
Fine.
Speaking of horribly wrong, tonight we are talking about another Lindsay Lohan movie. Why are you laughing, dude?
No, because I think you're funny, so I'm going to try to restrain myself and mute often.
Okay, if you say so. So we have been doing Lindsay Lohan Appreciation Month. Every week we're doing a different Lindsay Lohan movie in the month of August. The very first one was Freaky Friday with Desi. The second one we did was I believe I'm blanking on it. What was the second one we did? It's been a long month. I guess the second one must have been Herbie. No, it was Get a Clue. Sorry, with Emma. And then the third one was Herbie with Patrick. And now here we are doing Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. Coach, tell me why you chose this movie.
Because that's the one you told me to watch, Rob.
That's it?
Rob said, hey, you're going to do this. And I went, awesome. Let's do it. I've never seen this movie prior to you giving me the homework assignment, Rob. So cheers to you, my friend.
You know what? I knew that only you could bring the moxie to this movie that it needed. We talked about this before with Lindsay Lohan Month, that every time we bring up Lindsay Lohan, everybody goes, oh, man, I love Mean Girls. It's my favorite. And it's like, no, sorry, Mean Girls is not a Disney movie. We're only doing Disney Lindsay Lohan movies, and she had a lot of them. But I don't think this is one that most people are familiar with. And it's interesting because I think some of the music from this I recognized as I was watching it. I'm going to admit to you, this is the first time I watched this movie too, but it had a very sort of Mean Girls vibe to it. And
yep.
the pivotal part about this movie, it was Megan Fox's very first movie.
Yeah.
So,
He also had Stifler's younger brother in this movie too.
Is that who that dude was?
Steve Stifler. Yeah, that's who he was. I was like, why do I know this guy? And it's Steve. It was Stifler's younger brother from American Pie.
Yeah. So. Nice. So anyway, this movie is, again, one of the many that Lindsay Lohan put together in a string of movies. When you watched this movie, though, did you watch it by yourself, or did you sucker somebody from your family into watching it with you?
My wife kind of popped in and out. She was sort of, at first was kind of like, why are you watching this? And then I explained to her why, and she went, oh, so there's an actual reason you're watching this movie. Because it's a little weird to walk by your husband watching this movie randomly on Disney Plus. But so she watched brief portions of it, which is what most people probably do when they watch this movie.
Yeah, so there was a run of these movies. It was Parent Trap in 1998, and we're going to be watching that one next week. That's going to be our big finale to the month. And then Get a Clue in 2002, Freaky Friday in 2003, and then Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen in 2004. And then Herbie Fully Loaded was in 2005. So this was a quick run for Lindsay Lohan, but it feels like she was kind of like the queen of the early to mid 2000s when it came to Disney movies, kind of the standout, the same way that Dean Jones, Kurt Russell, Fred MacMurray, like kind of the golden child of Disney for a while. So this movie, when it starts out in a very dream sequency way. She's watching her mom leave to go to New Jersey
Yep.
in this kind of fantasy that she's made up. And quite honestly, when she did that little flip in the tree, I was like, what are we even doing here right now? Did you feel the same way? Did it catch you by surprise? Or
Yeah, it was hashtag parkour. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it would turn into a skating movie at some point. I didn't know what was going. It was very, and even in the intro, it was very. It had very like, it was very weird. It was like bubble text for all the intro of all the names, everything, and I was like, what is going on right now? It was very, very confusing. And there was a couch on top of a car. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what is happening? What has Rob gotten me into? You know, when you watch a movie like this, you hope there's that curve of where when a movie's really bad, it starts to get good. And I kept rooting for that, Rob.
Don't give it away yet, man. Don't give it away yet. So
I'm not giving it away. I'm not giving it away. No spoilers.
So again, starting with that first scene, I feel like that there were a lot of choices, let's say, that were made in this one. And when they back away from this scene that we're seeing, it's almost like it's made to be a pop-up book that she's reading. And then you get like the real her. So she's in New York. She loves New York. Now she's got to move out of New York, and we don't know. I don't think they really say why, but she's got to move out of New York to go to New Jersey. And I think that as the movie goes on, I think I figured out why, but I don't think they say it from the beginning. And I wonder, this movie is only 90 minutes. I wonder if they cut out a lot of stuff, because there was a couple things, and we'll get to the part about the dog. I don't know that they made the dog part really clear until the big reveal, did they?
No, there wasn't a lot of character development. I think that's what that's called in movies. There was some stuff where like you kind of like you knew where they were trying to go, but you kind of felt it felt a little jump cutty at times. It was weird. Like there are times where they sped certain parts of the movie up, which I'm sure we'll talk about. It seemed just completely unnecessary to the plot altogether. It's like there's a chunk of 4 minutes you could have used to describe seemingly a major plot point in this entire film. So it was definitely some interesting edits that happened for sure.
And we've got a lot of people with us in the chat. I see Chief there. I see Desi. I see Shannon. I see Dawn. And I think they're all coming to cheer you on here, buddy. But I want to know from you guys as we're going through here, like, drop in the chat, like, what you guys were feeling when you were watching this, if you watched it. Because, again, I don't know if there are some people who this is, like, their nostalgic pick or what. But I feel like for the most part, this one kind of got away from me, and I'm not really sure. We'll wrap it up at the end. One of the things that happens in this movie, though, is that she's very over the top dramatic about everything. Everything is the end of the world. She's got this favorite band, and her favorite band, like the lead singer he's the Shakespeare. He's the modern day Shakespeare. Everything is overly dramatic. And her mom says sort of the titular line in the beginning when they're driving to New Jersey to their new home, where she says, "You were such a drama queen." And I'm like, well, it's not Confessions of, but it's close enough. That's really, I think, then there's one callback to it later where where she calls him a drama queen. You coach high school football? I mean, baseball, is that correct? High school?
College baseball.
College. Do you have any drama queens that you deal with at school on a daily basis?
On my team? No, fortunately, because I get to recruit the players that play for me. But I did coach a year of high school in between coaching college many years ago.
Okay.
They exist very much. I can definitely confidently say, though, there were no musical numbers that suddenly broke out or any random obstacle courses that would occur in the morning. Those things didn't happen in the high school that I worked at for the
Don't you, though, think that, like, when you're in high school, everything is the end of the world? You just feel like it is. Like, where I'm going to sit at lunch, or maybe not you. You were probably the cool kid. You had none of these issues. But for me, it's like, where you're going to sit at lunch, and, am I going to ace this test, or all these other problems that you have that once you get out of high school into college, you go, you know what, those high school problems weren't all that big a deal. And then you get out of college, and you're like, what was I thinking, like worrying about all of these things? And yet we are introduced and we are meant to feel these things through Lindsay's character, who, I don't know, should we call her Mary or should we call her Lola?
I was calling her Liar for a while, but I guess Lola or Mary works.
Okay.
She was untruthful. No, I guess Lola.
I'm not going to wait to get to the end of this one, though, because you mentioned something about her being a liar. I don't think there's a lesson learned here. I think in a lot of
No,
Disney movies, especially, there's a lesson learned, right? And in this one, what the lesson is if you lie hard enough, you can meet your idol.
Yeah, and if you treat people like garbage, in order to, and you're incredibly selfish, and you make stories up, there's zero consequences, including with the police, which we find out, which is interesting.
Dandy in chat thinks we should say Lola, so we'll call her Lola because she's given herself that name. So her given name, her birth name is Mary. Her mom says, "I'm only going to call you Mary." She gets into a new school, and when the roll is about to be called, she goes up and says, "Hey, teacher, by the way, on your paper it says Mary, but my real name's Lola, so let's go with that." And so everyone calls her Lola for most of it, unless they're mocking her like the Mean Girl does. In the end, the Mean Girl being Megan Fox's character, who is Carla. And again, like I said, there's some bridging of the, like, this is sort of Mean Girl adjacent. It's just not, it's not Mean Girls, that's for sure. There weren't a lot of super quotable lines out of this one, I didn't think.
No. Narcissist, that's another word she could call herself.
Wow, you're getting really salty here, buddy.
It's just like, I don't know. There are parts in that movie where, like, she's just, I don't know. It's really all about her.
Well, here's a very telling picture where she's got this poster on her wall. And the actor who played this role, I got to think, really this is Eli
Marenthal or something.
No,
like
Eli Marenthal is.
He's Sam. Like a This is Andy. He's like a stage. Isn't he like a stage actor? He's like a famous stage actor.
Stu was played by Adam Garcia, but like the idea that he had to pose for this, and then this is literally the largest poster I've ever seen in my entire life, and she takes that with her from New York to New Jersey. I don't know how she got it there without messing it up. I can't take a poster from the gate of the Magic Kingdom to my car without messing it up, so I don't know how she got this from New York to New Jersey without messing it up. But she is in love with this guy, Stu Wolf, and the band, and his band, and she's obsessed, and everything's about them. And she finds out when she goes to this new school that the band's going to break up. She hears it on the radio, of all places. Who listens to the radio anymore? I hope a lot of people. But she hears it on the radio. Yeah, exactly. She hears it on the radio that that they're breaking up, and then her world is coming to an end. And now she has to go because there's going to be the final concert of their career is going to be happening in New York, and she's got to go. I thought they said it was happening when she first said it, like in Central Park. Did you remember? It
sounded like that.
Hearing that, but then it really kind of happens off Broadway.
Yeah, it looked a lot like Ontario, Canada to me, but that's where they shot it, so that would make sense. Yeah, I don't know. It was very much. It was interesting.
Now, yeah. So I'm sorry, you were saying?
It was so heartbreaking. The movie was so heartbreaking. The band breaking up that my screen froze.
Yeah, that'll happen.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. No. So yeah, she doesn't understand the concept of helium. So I'm not really sure how good of a student she is. She blows the balloons up with her air and of her lungs, and she expects it to rise, which I thought was weird. She knows a lot of $10 and $15 words, but she doesn't understand the concept of helium, which is a little confusing to me. But you know.
Oh, because of the balloons that she had, right?
Yeah, she literally just dropped. And she said more metaphorically. I was like, I don't know many 15-year-olds to say that word, but okay.
So the one thing that happens in this is that there's this moment which we see in a bunch of movies, this old-fashioned trope where, and you know the one it reminds me of the most is the Goofy movie, or A Goofy Movie, where Max lies and says that he's going to the Powerline concert, where he's really going fishing with his dad, and he's going to try to make it happen. And in a way, I guess that happens, like he makes it happen and wills it to happen in that movie. But in this one, she makes it happen. But I feel like he learns a lesson in the first one. And I think in this one, I don't think she ever learns her lesson. But she's willing it to happen, that she's in a conversation with the Mean Girl, with Carla. And she says, hey, my dad's the lawyer for the band, and he's going to get me into this really cool concert and the after party. And she's like, oh, yeah, me too. and you're just like, don't do that. And then she doubles down on it time and time and time again. And again, you've seen this trope over and over again in movies, and it's just like you're like, don't let that happen this time. Can we find another way to get the story moving along and not go down this road? Because again, it affects me. It hurts my heart when this happens.
Yeah, she just lies upon lies, and she just digs a hole. She talks about how her father, very early on in the movie, with her friend, her father was killed in a tragic motorcycle accident and hit a pizza truck, which obviously, eventually that comes back to haunt her a little bit. But it's just, there seems to be no, like, she just keeps lying, which it's a very, I don't know that we get a lot of sympathy for her, because I don't think she ever learns that lesson, because she sort of just gets everything she wants. So
yeah,
there's no redemption of I should have done this, where in other movies there seems to be.
So my guess is, and again, tell me if I missed this, dude. Tell me if I missed this in the movie. I may have just flown over my head, but my guess is that the reason that she had to move out of New York and moved to New Jersey is that her parents were getting divorced. Did you get that vibe?
It certainly seems that way. It's weird, though, because the parents are like, they seem to have a decent relationship based on their interactions.
Yeah.
Because they're obviously talking to each other, because the mother's on the phone with the father, already knows the situation of what she's going through, already knows. So there's obviously communication going back and forth. I almost thought it maybe had to do, there was a missed storyline that kind of explained the dog, and that the dad had to stay because the dog is, I guess, famous or whatever, which we don't really necessarily know. There's only like a 30-second clip where that's explained, which essentially the dog's fame sort of saves the entire movie if you think about it.
Right, but wait a minute. Back up a second. Where do they explain the dog's fame?
The Stu, the rock star, was like, "Oh, you're the famous dog." And
right, but before
like,
that,
that's so and so.
Before that, did they ever? Okay,
they never did.
That's where I'm lost.
It feels like that's got edited out.
Yeah,
because there was like this main sort of theme because now all of a sudden he knows the dog, he becomes friends with the dad, and blah 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 and all that. Like, because I think the dog is a celebrity, and ultimately the dog's celebrity is what allows her to achieve her goal. Ironically, and at no point does she pet the dog or acknowledge the dog's existence, because that would take away from the spotlight on her. In this movie, but it just seemed like that was really the reason why. Like, you know what I mean?
You just hate Lola. You just hate her.
Lola is just not a good person. It's very difficult to. You don't really ever root for her at any point. You're kind of like, all right, when's she gonna get hers?
So let's reel back a second. Let's reel back a second and take a look at the dream sequence where she explains to her new good friend that her dad died. So in this fantasy, her dad is a real rock star, because apparently that's what she loves. And when I see this actor in this outfit, I go to myself and say, we're going to see him later. Kind of like when they take a character and they try to make them look younger, yes, that we're going to see them later on. So just
especially 2004 standards.
Just a very strange scene, though, where again it's a very very interesting choice that the director makes here to tell the story through this like fantasy that she's painting this picture for her friend Ella. And so as she's explaining this, she's telling her that her dad's dead. And maybe that's because her mom is already, and I guess she says this to Ella later, her mom is already on thin ice in this neighborhood, because she's known as like a sort of a troublemaker, because she's a single mom, and she's got, she does pottery, and she apparently doesn't like microwaves. And so when all this is going on, I think maybe this is sort of a defense mechanism to make everything look cool. But I got to ask you this. What's cooler? My dad died and my parents were really in love and my dad died, or my dad has the world's most famous dog?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense to me. You would feel like somebody who's all about trying to advance herself under any means necessary, no matter who she hurts or takes advantage of, she'd be happy to leverage the dad and the dog, at least.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the dog's name is ever even said in the movie. If it was, and that's one of your trivia questions, I'm going to get it wrong because I don't remember what it was. But I think he may have mentioned it one time. But
yeah, well, when when Stu meets the dog, he says, "Is this?" And he says the dog's name, and I couldn't pronounce it. Otherwise, I probably would bring you to that. By the way, the dog was played by Zoe. That part I know.
Great performance.
Yeah, exactly. So before all this transpires, she's trying to get used to this new school. She has aspirations. She's explained to us that, obviously she shares this love of the band with her friend Ella, but then she wants to be an actress. Like, that's her dream goal, is to be an actress on Broadway. And then she's trying to indoctrinate herself at school, and every time we see her, she's got a different look, which I guess is explained in the poster art when it says Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. It has like 9 different looks of her, but she's always got this different look that she's doing, and maybe that's the dramatic actress in her. But she decides that she wants to be in the school play. She overhears Carla talking about it, and then Carla says, "I've already got the part." She runs and goes to the drama teacher, who is apparently the only teacher in this school. Right?
Did you forget the part where she tried to commit murder? Did you skip over that part of the movie? She's with the lockers, and she pushed all the lockers over and almost killed like 10 people. I was like, first of all, these lockers are very unsafe, because she just basically shut the door and gave it a little push, and then it just like accordioned over. So we got a maintenance issue going on in this high school, where apparently they can run. I mean, I guess it makes sense later in the movie when they're running around and stuff is everywhere in the hallway. But like, she's just like, ha ha ha, I almost killed 9 people. Like,
I was actually going to ask you about the lockers, but I thought it would be, too on the nose to ask the coach about the locker room. But
about the locker room?
Yeah, but
it's okay.
But yeah, all the lockers seem to have fallen apart. I don't know that I've ever seen lockers like this, where it's just each one is individual. It seems like a hazard of some point, but yeah, she pushes over all the lockers. I didn't really see this as a time for her to commit murder, but yes, I got you. It was definitely strange.
It was aggressive. Well, she was mad. She wasn't getting her way, so she had to lash out at somebody. She likes to do that when she's mad. So feels like she's getting slighted.
Okay, all right. I'm trying to figure out what's being said here, where Chief says Rob promised me we'll get a real treat out of Callie on the show soon. I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know. He said Rob and Coach are the ultimate passion. I'm going to take that as a compliment.
Yes.
I don't know what that means, but I'll take it.
No, let's do it. Yeah. So clearly he's been drinking already. That's great. I don't even think he's old enough to drink. It's fine. So
yeah, it's okay.
So she finds out that they have not cast this musical yet. They're doing Pygmalion. Pygmalion? It seems like it's not Pygmalion. It seems like it's My Fair Lady, but they're doing Pygmalion, and they're going to do a modern version of it, and they're going to call it Eliza Rocks, and it's just a new twist on it. And again, that's one of the things that's very cartoony about this. When she goes to audition, the teacher sort of knows the song or learns the song she's doing, and then she sings a song from her favorite band, and it's it's a neat moment. And then the boy Sam, who apparently is already instantly fallen in love with her, is in the audience to watch her sing. So to your point earlier, I don't think there's a lot of character development. As time passes through here and they find out that Carla was also trying out for the same role, they're going to post the announcement in the hallway, which I think is what they used to do. Now I'm sure it shows up on Instagram, but they're going to post the announcement in the hallway, and the 2 girls get there before the school opens, so early that the janitor has to open the door for them. And then there's this weird comedy where they run down the hallway to try to get there first.
It's very Benny Hill-esque. It has a Benny Hill feel to this. And then still seems like they're just sort of jogging, which is kind of weird.
Well, and when they fall down and they show them falling down, I think this is clearly not them. They clearly brought in some stunt people to slip and slide on the floors while they show it from the background. So, yeah,
it was interesting. It was very weird, and then all of a sudden, Sam just sort of shows up, which I thought was kind of weird.
Right. So Sam shows up, and then she's gotten the part of Eliza. Spoilers. Sorry, everything's a spoiler because we're talking about the movie. She gets the part, and then her friend is there, Bella's there, or Ella's there, her friend is there, Sam is there, and they hug. And I'm like, how much time has passed here that they're on this kind of a level now? Because it seems like the time's passing like this, and
yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. So I don't really have
she
any
definitely
concept
like.
of
What
that.
was weird to me was that she kind of like to open the movie, like she gets introduced to him, and then he turns around and walks away, and then I just got to stare at this guy's backside as he's walking, which seemed very. Again, I've just watched this movie for the first time, and I'm like, maybe in 2004 that was okay, but
There were two things. There were two things
not so much.
that I think caught my eye in the same way about that. One was the showing the boy's butt as he was walking away. The second one was the age difference between her and the rock star when they finally meet, and that it seems like it's a slightly romantic relationship. It seems off-putting a little bit to me.
Illegal?
I was just going to go for off-putting. Hey, so wait a minute. Here's a random thought. We're not even going to talk about it. Just for some reason, both those things were very uncomfortable as I was watching this movie. So, yeah, I don't think they would make those same choices in 2022, but we'll see. I was looking at this picture when she is in the hallway about to find out if she has gotten the part or not. The Megan Fox character, Carla, goes up first and says, "Oh my gosh, I got exactly the part I wanted." And so at that point, even again, I hadn't seen this before, I knew she didn't get the lead because she's trying to compensate for this is the part that I wanted. Right. And so Lindsay Lohan's character, Lola, sees this as, oh, she got the lead. And so she's upset at this point. And they show her and her friend, and maybe I'm making this up, but they show her and her friend standing here. And if you look in the background, this picture of the two of them.
Pictures.
But, I mean, right? Because, like, the headband on the one girl wearing the brownish, reddish colors, and then the other girl wearing the bluish colors, is that a complete accident?
I don't know that a lot of planning went into this movie in general. So I'm going to guess it was just an accident. I feel like it's like, hey, anybody got a hat with a weird buckle on it? She's got to wear that. And oh, you have like when she's riding her bike in the opening scene, the minute she was riding her bike, I immediately thought Forrest Gump and Jenny from Forrest Gump. I'm like, they stole that outfit from Jenny in Forrest Gump. I didn't look up the year, so I could be totally wrong about that. But it's like, why is Jenny riding a bike in high school? This is weird. So yeah, very, very odd. Just at one point, she makes a Knicks jersey of her own name on the back, which I thought was kind of interesting. Very weird. I don't know if that's supposed to show how creative she is. I don't know.
So I don't know where I lost you, buddy, but we're going to go into trivia.
Okay. Yay.
Are you excited?
I'm terrified. I want to not get them all wrong. I'll do my best.
Okay. So did you write anything down? I
wrote nothing. I wrote nothing down.
Did you pay attention to anything and say, hey, that's something he might actually ask me?
I did that constantly throughout the movie, which means I probably missed everything that you're going to actually ask me about and remembered all the stuff that you're not going to ask me about.
You know what? I feel bad, dude, because, I mean, I feel bad about that because I would have wanted you to really enjoy this film, you know, on all levels. And so
I mean, it was a cinematic masterpiece, obviously. That goes without saying.
I mean, obviously. So the first thing, and I've been kind of tiptoeing around it on purpose, is what was the name of Stu's band?
What was it? Sir. Oh, I knew you were going to ask for this too. It was Sir Daver. What is it? Sir Favor? What was it?
I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for since you don't have it yet. I'm gonna wait for us to catch up to real time and see if Desi is gonna pop it in the chat because she wants me to ask her these questions. So let's give it a second. Let's just give it a second. See if she figures it out or not.
Isn't it?
Don't look anything up.
It's Sir Daver. It's Sir something. I can't.
Dandelion put it in chat. It's Sid Arthur.
Sid Arthur. Sid Arthur. I knew it wasn't Sir Arthur. I knew it was like Sid or something. I thought you were going to ask me that too.
Yeah. Well, again,
pay attention next time.
Yeah.
I panicked.
Well, you're a coach. These girls were in
Sure.
uniform for their soccer team. What number was
God.
Carla wearing?
What was Carla wearing? I'm gonna take a guess. Number 1. Did I get it right?
No, you didn't even get it close. It's number 10.
Oh, 10? All right. Well, I was one number off.
Yeah. So in this fantasy that she tells Ella about the death of her father,
Yes.
he dies because he runs into a pizza truck.
Correct.
What's the name of the pizza place?
Jerry's Pizza. Did I get that right?
You did!
Yeah! All right. I thought I started with a J.
Yeah, good times, good times.
Got one. I got one. Not
This
shut out.
this school is littered with vending machines. Usually a place is either a Coke place or a Pepsi place. Is this a Coke school or a Pepsi school?
Well, technically it would be a 50-50 shot, but I feel like it's a trick question. I'm going to say Coke.
That is
Is that a
correct.
trick question?
No,
Yes.
that's correct. Yeah, in the
trick
background
question.
there's like Dasani machines and Coke machines. Usually you have just one vendor when you're doing stuff like that, but I think the fact that she had that Coca-Cola necklace probably would have been against the rest of the grain if everything else was a Pepsi product. But she had a Sprite on her tray when she first has the first lunch in there. So there you go, a 50-50 chance. That's really good. When she moves into the new neighborhood in New Jersey, she calls it Deadwood, and her little sister says, is she allowed to say that? What's the actual name of the town that she lives in?
Delwood?
There you go. You did it.
Yes. Passing grade so far.
Yeah.
Passing with a D right now. 3 out of
Okay.
5. Passing with a D.
So her friend Ella is not very well liked in this school, and the mean girl Carla has a nickname or a nick phrase for Ella. Do you remember what the phrase was? Because she said you should not hang out with her, but she uses this phrase to say what they think of Ella here.
I don't know. I can't remember. It was like Ella the. Was it like she didn't call her a freak? No, I don't know. I can't remember. I know exactly. I remember her saying it to her.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking that's Megan Fox. For me, because it was the first movie she was ever in. I was like, well, I didn't realize she was acting that early on. She hadn't even met Brian Austin Green yet. So there you go.
Is that what you were thinking the whole time?
I was just thinking, like, is that Megan Fox? I was like, it's kind of early, but it's her first movie, so there you
go. She says Ella never had a fella. That's what they call her.
Ah, that's what it was. I knew it rhymed.
Yep. Ella never had a fella. When they're doing the musical, Eliza Rocks, when it opens up, she's working in a supermarket and she's wearing some weird like jumpsuit, and there's a letter on the chest. What's the letter?
S.
Nailed it.
All right.
One last question. One last
All
question,
right.
and if you get this one, you go to the Olympics. In the end, they end up in Sid's bedroom, which again, awkward, way awkward,
Okay.
icky even. They end up in
Yes.
Sid's bedroom, and in Sid's bedroom, there's a neon sign. What does it say?
Oh.
It's inspirational, dude. You're the coach. It's game time.
It's like a
You're
really big.
inspirational.
It's really it's something about like dreaming it and you can achieve it or something like that. I can't remember specifically what the phrase is. It's like if you can
dream and you can do it.
It's like it's one of those things. If you can, something like that. It's like 4 different lines.
If
All I
you
remember
can
is 4
dream
lines.
it, you can do it.
It's something like that. If you can, I don't know, something along those lines.
Did I say Sid's bedroom? He's like kind of dragging me here. I meant Stu's bedroom.
Yeah.
It's the Sid Arthur / Stu thing that got me messed up. So if I said Sid, I apologize. I meant Stu's
Sid's
bedroom.
not there. It's
Yeah,
witty.
in Sid's bedroom, there are all these toys under the bed, and no. So
Yeah.
then in Stu's bedroom, that's probably what had you messed up. In Stu's bedroom, what's the sign say?
Yeah. Now that you said it that way, no, I did say something like if you can, it's something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm going to
It's
let you off
something
the
that's
hook.
on some.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on like a piece of
Organization
wood at a home goods somewhere.
Organization does not belong to the spirit.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So while the girls are inappropriately rocking out and jumping all over Stu's bed while he's not there, that's
I think it's great that they fit clothes, which I thought was also creepy.
That they did what?
Those are his clothes.
Oh yeah.
And they said we're in his clothes, and I was like, his clothes fit 15-year-old girls? Okay, weird, but all right.
Yep.
Interesting.
So wait, actually I had one last question for you because I had this one set up and I forgot to ask it, and I feel like it's really important.
Super important.
When she and Carla are talking about this final performance of Sid Arthur and where it's going to be, and they're having this conversation, they have it on a dance game, competition game. It's not Dance Dance Revolution.
I know.
What's it called?
It's not Dance Dance Revolution. It's like Dance Challenge Game or something like that. I think it ends in game. I couldn't really read it. It's green and yellow and cursive writing, which I can read, but I was trying to read it because I thought you were going to ask me that question. You're going to give me the Dance Dance Revolution, so.
Yeah. So
that might be the most impressive part of the movie, to be honest with you.
What, the dance scene?
They're having a full conversation while they're doing that. I know it's added in later, but that's not an easy game to play, Rob. Dance Dance Revolution is intense.
Okay. All right. So here it is. Dance Slam.
Dance Slam. That's what it was. Okay. I thought it was a game. Remember the AM.
You're like, I know it ends in game. That's the one thing in this whole wide world I know for certain is it definitely ends in game.
Got it wrong.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for playing along, dude. It wasn't as painful as you thought. You got a bunch of them.
No. Okay. That's good.
Yeah. So
I didn't embarrass myself that much. Good.
There you go.
All right.
So when so the whole movie is leading up to this big concert, but yet the concert happens about halfway through. I was looking for it to be broken up into the traditional movie first, second, third acts, and it doesn't really. So she spends all her time whining and crying about trying to get to the concert, and they're extending this olive branch. Your dad says he will pick you up and take you. She's like, no, I don't want to do that because I don't really want him there. That won't be cool. But what didn't occur to me while they're having that conversation was she had told everyone. I thought she had just told Ella. She had told everyone that her dad had died. So maybe that's why she didn't want Dad to be there, because she didn't want to let the cat out of the bag that Dad was alive.
I mean, maybe that's the positive way of looking at it.
Is it?
I always looked at it, yeah, because I feel like she's kind of like more worried about herself more than anything else. Like, I'll be honest with you, when she didn't have money for the scalp tickets, part of me thought she just kept it. Like, I was at that point in the movie where I'm like, would she steal the money and just keep it? Like,
oh no, I knew that was the case. But from the beginning, when she's like, "Oh, you hold on to the money," I knew, well, that money's not going to make it. I mean, you knew that was going to happen. That she wasn't going to be able to get the money to where it needed to be.
Yeah.
So when they get to New York for the show finally, they've decided that they brought Ella's parents in, and the parents were like, this is the thing too. The parents were like, yeah, we're happy to help you. That's the thing too that is kind of angering. Not only the lies, but the fact that the parents were actually going to make all this happen for them, and they kept going, no, let's do it the hard way. Like, for no particular reason.
Yeah, and then it was really, I don't know how you felt about it, but when they got to New York, like, Ella's parents, the dad was a little creepy. He was kind of like, oh, you guys look really good. And I'm like you're kind of lingering on this a little bit too long here. Like, I get, like, Yeah, I think it was supposed to be like this is proud, like they look adult-ish. But then there's a little detail where they're like, yeah, we're going to be back at the hotel by 12. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. These parents are supposed to be square and don't do anything ever, right? According to Ella, they're boring. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, exactly. We'll be back at 12. What are you doing in New York City till 12?
Yeah.
These don't seem like New York City people to me, Rob. I don't know what's going on here. I was a little concerned when I heard that. I'm like, what are these parents up to that they're coming back at? They're not going to see a show, because if they saw a show, they would be back at 12. So I don't know what was going on. It was very, and they're dressed to go somewhere, Rob. I don't know.
I love the fact that he's got his arms out and he's like, let Papa Bear get his paws on you. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's very, it looks a little creepy.
Yeah.
These girls are 15, Rob. These girls are supposed to be 15. That's the part that's like people forget. Like, yeah, I know Lindsay Lohan's 20 when she does this movie, but 15.
Again, the parents were going to like help this along, and they just kept lying, and that's the part that's really frustrating. I guess for the whole thing is not only that the lying paid off for them, but that at no point, even though the parents were trying to help, did they go, yeah, go ahead and help me. Even when the dad is following her, and the dad's like, where are you going? And what can how can I help you? Do you want me to take you somewhere? And she's like, no, leave me alone. Just follow at a safe distance. And then they go, basically, they can't get into they can't get into the concert. And even though Ella has gotten in, she messes it up for Ella, and Ella gets pulled back out again. And even though they can't get into the concert, they decide, oh, we're going to go to Soho and find Stu's house. But they don't really know where it is. They just have a picture of a door and know it's in Soho. And so they go, and it starts raining, and then the dad's following them, and then they get to the place because they follow Carla's car, and she gets there, and then they go into the party. And it's like not even halfway over, or maybe just barely halfway over when all that happens. And I'm like, what's the rest of this movie going to be, right? That's about halfway through it when all that stuff is going on.
Yeah.
And then she's going to have her moment afterwards where she gets to the party, and she's going to have, like, she's going to see Carla and all that. And then Stu, I almost said it again, Stu runs out of the party, and she follows him into an alleyway where then she and her friend pick up this dude who is drunk and take him to a cafe to get coffee, but none of them have money. And then he ends up throwing a donut at a cop, and that takes him downtown, which is where we get the revelation of the dog, because the dad shows up with the dog, and he's like, oh my gosh, that's whatever the dog's name is, and he's famous.
Yeah.
And so, okay, everything's forgiven because you have a famous dog, and it's like, why didn't you play this card an hour ago or a week ago or whatever? I'm frustrated for Lola.
Not a professional police department. I'll be honest with you. When she asked for his signature, I thought she was tricking him into signing something that he was guilty.
So did I. I thought the same thing.
I was like, not actually asking for his signature, is she? He's like, no, she's having him sign something, and like that's what it was. I was like, I mean, not for nothing, Rob. Not to say anything bad about the director, but it's not like the director went on to have a distinguished career in terms of future films. This is kind of the biggest film I think this director ever did. There might be a reason for that.
Sara Sugarman.
But it just seemed like it was very much the editing was. I'd be interested to see who edited it, because it seems like the editing is like there's just missing. They're going left, they're going right. He's drunk. Dino's the dog. Like the dog should have been explained versus the running through the halls, Benny Hill style, tripping over 7 garbage cans in the middle of the school for whatever reason, like destroying school property to rush to a sign that it's going to get listed. So you don't. It's not like whoever gets there first. It's not a ride at Disney World. If you get there first, you don't have to wait for 2 hours after opening. We're not rope dropping the cast list. So there's a lot of stuff that just like you chose to keep that in Benny Hill style, but not explain, like, because without the dog, none of this works.
Yeah, no,
right?
You're right.
Stu doesn't go like, oh, I know who you are. Like he's just hammered in a police station.
It's almost like they said, how can we fix this? All right, like, stay with me. The dad's dog is famous. Go. But, I mean, obviously they knew that was going to be in play, or else he wouldn't have been bringing the dog on a stakeout. Because, I mean, weird. Yeah, it was very weird. So they get to the police station, and I had the same thought as you, as it was the trick to get him to sign a confession or something. Yes, I confess that I am a perverted rock star. So when Ella's forgiven and he says, who wants to go to a party? And then that cop says me, and then we see her at the party. Yeah, that's weird too. So
Yeah.
they don't all go back to the party together. Somehow Stu goes by himself, gets changed into new clothes, and then gets drunk again because he had sobered up by the time that they were all having their little meeting in the police department.
It's the movie trick, Rob. Coffee sobers you up.
And then when they go, okay, when they go back to the party, then, you know, Ella's still mad at her and has decided now is the moment, even though this has been the journey is to get to this party, now is the moment where she's going to, you know, stick it to her friend and say no more. And she's like, "Ah, come on." And then she goes, "Okay." So again, Lola doesn't really have to pay for anything here. She's like, "I'm sorry, I completely told you that my dad was dead." Doesn't really have to pay for anything.
As he's standing next to her.
Right. So they go into the party, and then Stu welcomes them in. They change in his clothes. They rock out in his room. They roll around in his sheets. They come downstairs just in time to see Mean Girl Carla and her mean girls leaving the party, and they make eye contact with her. And so they're like, yes, victory. Next day at school, and this is really, I guess, the beginning of the third act. Next day at school, they go, "Oh, you're a liar." And now she's trapped because she can't say she's completely honest because she lied about the father being dead. And I thought she had, like, Carla had something on her, some, like, incriminating picture that showed that she was not there. But Carla was just super smart and said, "Prove it. I've got pictures of me at the party. I didn't see you at the party. My girls didn't see you at the party. Prove that you were there." And so then starts the long chain of Lola just breaking into tears a lot. Yes, she's being bullied by this girl, and yes, it really stinks. But she breaks down in here, and you know, and now Carla's gotten her way, and then she's really kind of like upset. And then they're in drama, like rehearsals, and then like she tries to come clean and say, "Yeah, okay, yeah, fine, I said my dad was dead, but it really is real. Here's a pretend napkin that I used to dry his like tears." Like, that's not proof. That's crazy. And so I don't know, at that point you're just like, where are we going? Like, what are we doing, people? I'm sorry.
I'll be honest with you, I was distracted by the drama teacher. Because I don't know if you know, she's the wife of in Princess Bride. She's the wife.
Yeah.
Where she's like, "Oh yeah," like, and that, like,
Miracle Max's wife.
I could only see her as Max's wife. Like,
Well,
I don't know why. I just saw her and I was like, "That's Max's wife from Princess Bride."
Carol Kane's been in a bunch of stuff though.
Awesome.
She was in Gotham. She played Penguin's mom. She was in the Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Yep.
She played one of the ghosts of Christmas Past, I believe. And then she was also in a TV show called Taxi with Christopher Lloyd.
Great show.
And Danny DeVito. So she's been in a ton of stuff, and it was weird seeing her in this role. This was the most normal role I think I may have ever seen her in, because she is so unique. She usually just kind of plays somebody who has a few screws loose. So it was interesting to see her in this doing something a little bit different.
She was great. She was great.
I love the fact like that Carla is taking credit for the direction this play is going in, and then she kisses up to the teacher, and the teacher says, "Yeah, it was really my idea." And so like the teacher taking credit for the kids thing is really weird. Speaking of weird, now we're into the part where the play's about to happen. Lola's been bullied into staying home. We have this 11th hour save where Ella says, "You've got to come or she wins," and she's like, "Okay, I'll do it." And so after that, it's very like disturbing. That was an interesting trick, dude. I was going to try to pretend like you weren't trying to focus yourself, but I mean, you just...
It's an autofocus. That's a new camera to deal with the white balance everybody was complaining about on Park Center, so...
Okay. Anyway, so she comes in at the 11th hour to save everything, and she bullies her into coming and doing the musical after all. And when the musical starts, the drama teacher that we were talking about, Carol Kane, steps up in front of the whole like orchestra and says, "All right, children, press your buttons." What was going on here? Like, I don't
felt like
even
it was
know what
product
this
placement
was.
for Apple. Well, at one point, like, okay, you want to say they were all hitting keys at different times, I guess. So they didn't have the ability to have an actual band, but they had the ability to have like amazing dance numbers and set design, which seemed a little weird to me, especially considering earlier in the movie she had said we haven't had one good rehearsal yet. There were kids doing backflips and stuff. It was interesting. Pretty impressive costumes. I mean,
oh, absolutely.
Kids,
Yeah, no,
it was weird. And then later on, at the very end of it, there's actual like non-computer sound music going on. And I was wondering where that was coming from.
So there's so then they put on the musical. The mom shows up, the dad shows up, the mom calls her Lola. She's like, "Oh, Lola." She's like, "Yeah, you look like a Lola." And everything's turning out wonderful already, right? And so she puts on the performance of a lifetime, even though apparently she's been too distracted by this concert to actually do the play. The play seems to be completely insignificant to this entire thing. It seems like
it, yeah.
It seems like we have the path of she's a new kid in a new school, and the path of there's this band that she wants to go to this concert with, and then it's this whole play. It's almost like there's 3 movies going on, and it's a lot. But
missing the thread of the dog, Rob. It's missing the continuous thread of the dog.
Here's the other thing is that after the show is basically over, there's a big, huge musical number after the curtain closes, which shows where she sings the titular song "Drama Queen." And it becomes High School Musical almost, or Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure, right? Because it's just it's her singing this song and making this performance of the song that's from the movie we're watching. What? What? It's crazy. Yeah. But I will say that song, which is called Drama Queen (parentheses that girl), that song I hear at Disney events, D23 Expo, things like that. So, I mean, even though this movie seems not mainstream, I feel like that song kind of is in the Disney sphere. That's just me putting that out there. There was a lot of music in this, most of it by bands no one's ever heard of, or by Lindsay Lohan herself, except for the band Simple Plan has a song called Perfect, which is in here. But other than that, everything else is bands: Diffuser, Super Chick, Lilix.
When she's on the couch and it doesn't even like fit the scene, which made no sense to me.
Yeah.
She's like, "You can't be." I'm like, "She can't be a perfect liar." What are they singing about? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. She's not trying to be perfect. She's being narcissistic. It was weird. I don't know. Yeah. Good song though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely recommend that song for sure. So they do this big number, and then again, it's like it seems like a movie that is only 90 minutes that's had really hardly any ramp up and no character development, has at least 2 endings. The Eliza Rocks one is kind of an ending to this movie, and then there's like this whole sort of wrap up / revenge scene where even though Carla had spread this lie that Lola had never gotten to meet Stu. Stu shows up at Carla's party looking for Lola, and then Carla tries to play it off. And again, this is where, like, did you think this lie was going to pay off for you? It doesn't pay off for her. Lies have been paying off for Lola the entire time, but this lie doesn't pay off for her. So she goes, "Yep, here's Stu. He came to my party to see me," and like, he's right there. He could clearly tell everybody that you're lying. So he goes in, finds Lola to give her her Coca-Cola product placement necklace to put around her neck, and you can see Carla devastated in the background, getting her comeuppance. And if that wasn't enough, then she has a moment where she falls into an unnecessary fountain.
Yeah, it didn't creep me out at all that a 31-year-old drunk rock star was at a teenager's party. Weird. And the fact that the father told her that he was there, that was a little weird too. But it's very, very odd. I feel like she only helped her out of the water fountain because she was gloating. because she had already won.
Yeah.
So she was just being that, like, that's like winning the game and then saying like, oh, great game, you won.
Spike the ball.
She's gonna say that.
She's gonna spike the ball. So
100%.
Aside from all of this other lack of character development, we find out that there's a love interest with Sam, which Sam has hardly been a part of this movie at all. So for the payoff to be a big revelation and kiss with Sam, you didn't give me you didn't give me the breadcrumbs to get me there for some reason. I mean, am I wrong on that
she
one?
checked out his butt. She checked out his butt, Rob. That was foundational.
Can you not do that anymore?
I mean, they focused on it for like 10 seconds. I was like, what is going on? This poor kid. She stole a dress for her. She manipulated him into stealing a dress for her. So that's love, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or just
all
her
right.
being manipulative.
So I feel like we've covered this movie, my friend, and so this is the exciting part. This is the part that you've wanted all of your life, is to have this moment. This is it. This is the time.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this movie, we've talked about the plot holes and the editing issues and all of those things. So I feel like I know what you're going to say here, but I want to give you the opportunity to say it. You worked hard to be here, Coach. You're here now. There was all the bullying. You started your own hashtag that called on and trended never. I mean, it really is at a point where, like, I want you to have your moment in the sun. So this is it. This is the time. Are you ready?
Okay. Sure.
Coach.
Yes.
Eyes on me. 1, 2, 3, eyes on me. Would you
Looking at
recommend this movie?
Well, I will say there are some movies that are on Rotten Tomatoes that have ratings of like 14, 15, 16% that actually are decent movies. Because generally there's that rating, and then there's an audience score that's usually in like the 80s. The audience score, I think when last time I looked, was like 35, maybe 25. This is a cringy movie. I wouldn't recommend watching it to anyone. Even Lindsay Lohan fans, you have better options. I know she's in the midst of a rebirth. I know she signed like I think someone wrote in chat that she signed a 3-movie deal with Netflix because she's cleaned her life up, and good for her. And I hope she has that. Everyone loves a comeback story, and I hope this is one of them for her. But no, I can't in good conscience recommend this movie to anybody, unless you're learning. It's bad. It's just it's not bad enough to be good. So unfortunately, I would decline watching this movie. Even comedic effect is a little bit. Hopefully, we gave you some comedic effect by listening to us talk about the movie, but we also hopefully saved you 90 minutes from watching this. So that's my final vote. That's
the thing, though. It's only 90 minutes, so it should be a quick watch. But I can't tell you how many times that I paused it and went, Lord, how much more time is left in this movie. So I didn't really enjoy this movie. And most movies, I would say, like, there are very few movies that I'd say don't waste your time at all. But honestly, and it's not you, Lindsay. It is not you. If you're watching, you're not. It's not you.
No.
I think that the problem with this movie is everything else. The acting, I think, is absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with the acting. I think that the script was bad. I think that the editing, as you said, was bad. There was no character development. It's just not a good movie. And so I watched it once. Now I can say, except I don't know that I've ever seen Life Size all the way through, but which is not on Disney Plus, or we would have reviewed it instead of Get a Clue. But I would say that this one is a movie that I would never watch again. Wouldn't recommend it again. But I would recommend the soundtrack. So, that's it. The soundtrack, if you pull it up and listen to it on your favorite streaming service, is probably worth a listen. But that one song, the Drama Queen, That Girl, I think is kind of a cool song. So, yeah, I'd recommend that. But I'm with you. I wouldn't recommend this movie. But that said, there are so many movies that I wouldn't like, that I wouldn't recommend, that people have a special place in their heart because they saw it as a kid or they saw it at a special time. So if that's you, we'd love to get your feedback. You can leave it in the comments below and tell us if this was that movie for you. No bullying. This is a safe zone. I just wanted, I'm curious as if this was that movie for anybody, because some like DComs that are very like, I wouldn't give them the time of day. Some people are like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite movie, Brink. So when you go back and you look at this, maybe this is not. Maybe this was your favorite movie. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I would love to hear from someone who said, "Hey, this is a movie that meant a lot to me." But it means a lot to me, Coach, that you were on here tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for hanging out during Lindsay Lohan month, and thank you to our Wigs members. We love our Wigs. Thank you so much for being our WDW NT Interglobe Society. If you want more information on that, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. Don't forget to like this video because Coach's ego needs it. And don't forget...
I want to be on again, Rob.
Yeah, don't forget, we've got Park Center coming up this Sunday. It's going to be our last one before the Expo, and so we're going to talk about the Expo on it. You can catch last week's Park Center is still up. Last week's Disney Entertainment News Today. Please enjoy all the programming here on WDWNT TV. And again, thank you, Coach, for being here. Thanks for all the people in chat.
Thanks for having me.
For Rosita, for Chief, for Dawn, Melissa, Tony, Tran, A-Dragger, let's see, Dandy, Desi, thanks for being here. We really appreciate you guys so much. So, any last words, Coach?
No, this is a lot of fun. It is different watching a movie, knowing that you're going to be talking about it with a friend, which was cool. It got me through it, Rob. But no, this is good. I'm excited. I'm hopefully can be on again. This was a lot of fun, and hope everybody enjoyed it. Don't watch this movie. Watch something else. But you know, you could watch Park Center, for example. Better use of your time.
Wow. All right.
Or go to carouselproducts.com and get the quality wares.
I was going to say, but Park Center also 90 minutes. Hopefully we give you more out of that one.
Worth it. Worth it.
All right, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Take care.